Closing a file is important. Now, a file does get closed when the script ends, but if your script has an error before it ends, or if you want to do something else with that file, let's say you want to append to it and then you want to turn around and read from the file, you got to close it in between. And that's simple. You just call the myfile.close method, and then you're done. You always want to make sure you close a file after you're done with it. Remember when I said that you could use finally for this purpose? Well, finally, pun intended, we are here. So this code uses try, except, and finally to make sure that if you get an error because the file doesn't exist, that it recovers gracefully. And it makes sure that if the file, let's say there's an error in here, maybe when you try to read the file, it's corrupt or something. If something bad happens, it always makes sure that the file gets closed, no matter what. So the way this reads is try opening the file for reading and then print whatever's in the file directly. If there's a file not found error exception, it'll say the file was not found. No matter what, whether there's an error or not, it says if file. All that means is if that file exists, if that file object is in fact set, then close it. But it makes sure that no matter what, that file gets closed at the end, which is really, really important because, again, you could end up with corruption in the file if that doesn't work for whatever reason. But there's a better way. There's a better way to use a file or to open a file that allows you to not worry so much about closing it when you're done. And it's called using it with. With is a new command for us. It's a new structure, but it's called a context. So with creates what's called a context where we can open that file and do something with it. And then when that code block finishes executing, it closes it for us automatically, which is really nice and sort of clean and easy to do. This is sort of the recommended way of working with files. So I would say with open, you can see open my file for reading as file. What that means is it's the same as saying file equals open my file for reading. However, it creates a code block. It creates a context for this code to run. So now this code runs with file as that object, file.read, print the context, and then close it. Okay, so that works exactly the same way as the code we were checking out earlier. But I'm going to grab it real quick. And let's put it in here. Oop. Didn't like that at all.
Does it matter what you name the file?
You mean this file here?
Just your file in general.
The file name or the file object?
Actual file.
The actual file? No, but it should be a text file. Text files could be a lot of different file extensions, though. They could be HTML. They could be CSV, like a comma separated file. So I don't know if any of you played with a CSV, but if you're in Excel and you've got data, you can export that as a CSV, which stands for comma separated values. And all you would do is you'd pull that in, you'd read one line at a time, and then you would use split to split that by commas into different pieces of data. So we can.
When we make our code, we do name.py. When we make the file, does it have to have .text? Or...
Yeah, I would recommend .text for now. Yeah, because that's the simplest. So if I'm using the convention that I was using earlier, this is essentially the exact same thing that we were doing earlier. So with this, myfile.read, print the contents. When I run that, it prints those lines that I just wrote to that file. Okay. So that's another way to do things. And it's actually a better way to do things. It's a little bit different than what you're used to, but you start with, and then you open the file, and then you give that file object its name at the end. So you'd with open myfile.text for reading as, and then the file name, colon, and then everything in here happens with that context. It's a little bit different approach, but it is a lot less code, and it's a lot less cleanup because it closes that file down for you at the end anyway.